Deputy Economic Development Minister resigns and the RD calls to support struggling municipalities. Good evening. Deputy Economic Development Minister Enoch Gondongwana has resigned. The presidential spokesperson Mac Maharaj says Gondongwana's last day will be tomorrow. Maharaj says President Jacob Zuma has accepted the resignation and thanked Gondongwana for his dedicated service. Gondongwana is a member of the ANC's Economic Transformation Committee. He was previously the Deputy Public Enterprises Minister and had served as a member of the provincial legislature in the Eastern Cape. President Zuma says Gondongwana's work experience and expertise will not be entirely lost to the public, but will be used elsewhere in pursuing the goal of a meaningful economic transformation. Gondongwana says he is to pursue personal interests. Independent Democrats parliamentary leader Joe McGlure says his party will request the Treasury and the Cooperative Governance Department to determine the identity and detailed crisis of the municipalities that have been reported to be in financial distress. He says they must come up with corrective measures. This comes after reports indicated that 66 of the country's 278 municipalities were in financial distress and 37 others were headed in that direction. McGlure says they have called on President Jacob Zuma and the Cabinet to support struggling municipalities to prevent their total collapse. He says it's shameful that nearly 40% of the country's municipalities are facing a financial meltdown. ANC Secretary-General Gwede Mantashe says the ruling party is concerned about the high rate of unemployment the country is facing. He's been speaking at the Gamaleka FET College at Port Shepstone on the KwaZulu-Natal South Coast at the ANC's provincial centenary celebrations. Thousands of party members, including those from the Youth and Women's Leagues, COSATU and the SACP, as well as other organizations, are attending the celebrations. Mantashe says the ANC is facing challenges such as alleviating poverty.
17 years look very long, but it's a very short period. Concerns of changing that reality remain in the main. High unemployment, poverty, inequality in society. But more than that, the ability to help our people appreciate the importance of doing things rather than waiting for delivery. I'm beginning to have an allergy to this word delivery because it is creating a very passive society instead of a society that is pushing the government to facilitate certain things to happen.
A mass funeral of 8 people who died when their vehicle left the road in the Pakes Pass last Wednesday has been held at the Bloemfontein farm near Clan William on the west coast. 2 others were laid to rest yesterday. 21 farm workers were on their way home from Clan William after collecting their grants when their overloaded bakkie overturned. The farm workers travel 50 kilometers every month to access their grants. Cedarburg Mayor Jonas White has called on government to improve service delivery in remote areas.
We cannot afford another tragedy because of people traveling 50 kilometers just to get a grant and doesn't have any transport, doesn't have any means to pay the transport. That is why we have this problem of the transport was available being overloaded because people are desperate to get those grants because those grants, for many of them, are the only means for them to survive.
Further afield, gunmen have stormed a police building and attacked a mosque in the Iraqi town of Ramadi, west of the capital, Baghdad. The gunmen reportedly entered the building after setting off several bombs outside. The BBC's Nahim Abuzid reports.
5 men wearing military uniforms and driving a police car stormed the headquarters of the anti-terrorism unit in the city of Ramadi. They shot dead 3 of the guards at the main gate and wounded 4 before proceeding to blow up the car inside the compound. They then took up positions on top of the buildings and fired towards the main entrances. The exchange of fire that followed between the attackers and police units resulted in the death of 4 more police and the 5 armed men who blew themselves up.
Back home, Bafana have held Ghana to a 1-1 draw in a practice match at the Royal Bafokeng Stadium in Rustenburg in the northwest. The SABC's Simon Burke reports.
South Africa coach Pitso Mosimane admitted that his young and inexperienced side would be swimming with the Sharks when they took on Africa's second-best side in the Black Stars. Midfielder Tommy Sangweni caught the Ghanaians napping as early as the 8th minute with a well-struck goal from some distance. Suli Montari equalized for Ghana 4 minutes later. The game descended into a scrappy contest. However, Pitso Mosimane can take heart from the fact that his young and inexperienced midfield and defense stood up to the intimidating West Africans. Simon Burke, SABC News, Rustenburg.